statistics provides for some interesting learning. So this is the number by now you're all familiar with, which is 19.6 million voters. Of that, 53% are male, 47% are female. And out of this total of 19.6 million voters, important to note, a very small number from the diaspora. That's about 4,393. These persons in the diaspora will be voting in Kampala, in Dar es Salaam, Arusha, Kigali, Bujumbura, and also in Pretoria in South Africa. We have our correspondents who will be across those regions to make sure we get you that number. But also, for the first time, members of those who are incarcerated will be voting, and that's about 5,528, and these are in over 100 prisons across the country. This is an interesting one that we've been talking about. Zinzi will be very excited. She has talked about this right here on KTN News for months now. Over half of those registered are between the ages of 18 to 35. That's about 9.9 million. So these could very well be the game changers in this election. So all of these voters will be spread out across 40,883 polling stations. By now, you know the rule, that each polling station will have no more than 700 voters per polling station. Let me just give you an interesting fact. Starehe constituency here in Nairobi has the highest number of polling stations at 253. Of course, the lowest in places like Lamu East. But in all those close to 41,000 polling stations, over 300,000 polling officials have been hired just for this exercise. And when it comes to manning them and providing the adequate security that the acting Interior Cabinet Secretary was talking about, there is at least 2 police officers per polling station. If you do the math with just this number alone, and there's certainly more, you have over 81,000 police officers who are providing security. So as you can imagine, this is a huge operation and will cost a whole lot of money. In fact, just providing security, all those over 300,000 election officials who are going to be manning this, it's going to cost us the most it has ever cost in this country to run this election. And that is 49.9 billion shillings that has been allocated for this exercise. This is the highest, not just in the country, but it is also the highest in the region. This is costing us, this election, more than Rwanda, that did theirs just a few days ago, Uganda and Tanzania that have done theirs in recent times. So this amount, well, of course, a bulk of it goes to IEBC. That's about 42.9 billion. The rest of it goes to security agencies like the NIS and a number of others. This is now an interesting number. This is why this election is so high stakes. This is the number of gazetted candidates in total, across the 6 levels, across all of the polling stations and counties and constituencies in this country. 14,523 candidates are going to be squaring it out for just 1,882 seats. There's a little over 12,000 people there who will be the main losers in this election. So you can imagine this is definitely not an easy one for them. And that is one of the reasons why we talk about this being a high-stakes election. So there will be quite a bit of managing expectations, emotions after tomorrow once the polls close and the numbers start to come in. So these are some of the interesting numbers that we want you to focus on. Now, we'll be having a few more in just a short while. We'll be taking a look, of course, at the number of women who are participating in this one and whether we will be able to meet the 2/3 gender rule as well as the number of candidates. So that is something that is interesting that I'm sure Linda and her panel, especially Daisy Amdan, will want to talk about as we head towards the polls that are opening.